Hey there, it's Nick. While Alan is on paternity leave, congrats, Alan, join us in watching episodes from The Greatest Adventure, Stories from the Bible. It's the cartoon that Adam constantly references, was made by Hanna-Barbera, and has some surprising voice casting. This week, we're talking The Miracles of Jesus, which you can find on Amazon, Google Play, or YouTube for free. Welcome to the King James Virgin, where each and every week my friends Alan and Adam recount Bible stories from their childhoods to me. I've never heard them before. My name is Nick.
My name is Adam.
Disregard the intro because it's time for another Greatest Adventure, Stories from the Bible. I had to look at my notes because I forgot the entire title.
Yeah, it's weird because I think I have searched it on YouTube in like every weird
possible
order of those words.
Yep.
And never can find it.
Yeah.
And now I just have as soon as I put in G, it autofills.
Oh, that's good for your searches.
I mean, there's a bunch more, but it's there, and so I just click on it and I found a playlist that has them all.
Oh, perfect. I have noticed that I'm getting a lot of different suggestions of different Bible things that I should consider watching.
No.
So should probably be doing this in private browsing, but might stumble upon something fun and exciting to talk about on this very show.
I doubt it.
Yeah, probably. So among that doubt, we are here to talk about the Miracles of Jesus episode.
You texted me yesterday when you were watching it, just like, the first text was like, it's a clip show.
I thought for sure that it was just
I'm
a
with
clip
you
show.
because and also like it kind of gave away some of the ones that we haven't watched.
Yeah, it is the penultimate episode.
I guess that's true. Two things struck me. One, but it's not a clip show, but it starts with like all of these non-related miracles that God has done.
Yeah.
This is supposed to be the miracles of Jesus. And yes,
They're just explaining what a miracle is, I think.
Yes. With this no-name character, like this guy named Benjamin who just doesn't exist. He's apparently the guy who, it doesn't matter. But like, I'm really excited about the David and Goliath episode because Jesus Christ, so much blood.
Yes.
Like I was amazed by the amount of blood. We've been talking
about the like Star Warsification of these. Like, oh, maybe they're just knocked out. No, that guy's fucking dead.
Goliath, they took all of the blood from the Samson scene and put it into the Goliath scene.
Yeah, so we'll get there. What is funny about all of the clips that they show from this is that it was all episodes that we have not done. In fact, when it started, I was like, "Oh, that's weird. Why would they truncate the Noah story rather than doing an episode on it?" And then I was like, "Oh, no, there is one. We will be doing it eventually."
It's also so strange because like there are miracles that they just skipped. Like they didn't cover Lazarus. They didn't cover they didn't cover the pigs. Right. They didn't cover like there's a bunch of they could have filled that time with like content that was more directly related.
Yeah, and it wasn't even the flashback stuff or the clip show stuff wasn't even in the meta. And I think that again, part of the reason why this episode isn't very enjoyable, maybe to us, is that the meta is not really there. Like it starts,
there's no meta.
It's there in the beginning a little bit,
and then I would say the meta that is included is a doozy.
Totally, yes, we'll get into it. But as soon as they start walking along in Jesus's footsteps,
correct,
and exploring all of the miracles, it's gone, and it's just the animated miracles, and it's very boring.
It's really bad.
And which is kind of shocking to me because like this is your dude, like make it cool, make the miracles cool,
right? Like it does feel like you're not burying the lead, but like you've maybe they just blew their load on like creatively earlier on.
Yeah,
although no, like. They clearly did not put a lot of effort into the storytelling all the way through, but now they really just lacklustered this one up.
Yeah.
I guess you want to start at the beginning?
So
less intense of them where are they going? Like
less intense, but there are some, and I think we'll find that there are some like clarifications maybe they're poking holes in our theories
a little bit.
So a little bit more back. So this is the second to last episode of the series, was 1986. And the episode that's left is the Easter story. That's the final story.
Is it Easter or is it the Nativity?
Oh shit. I'll have to double check.
See, well, here's the thing too, is I don't think my playlist is in order. So it's possible that my playlist is out of order.
And there's a lot of confusion, I think, on the internet about this too.
And what are they going?
That YouTube playlist, I think, is wrong. I think IMDb is even wrong.
Oh, wow.
There's a Wikipedia that I've been looking at that seems potentially right, but who's to say?
Let's get Hannah and or Barbera, from the grave on the phone.
So yes, Miracles of Jesus episode, or the Miracles of Jesus, as Adam would I presume prefer to say. There's a banner outside of my house for some reason. It's not over my house. It's over my neighbor's garbage pile.
Right.
That says
across an alley.
Yes. That says expect miracles.
Right. I just want to modify it so that it says expect miracles.
Yeah.
Because I just thought it'd be funny.
And it's a more reasonable expectation.
Yeah. It will happen
going to have
once a week.
I watched this on Easter Sunday.
Yes, you did. Well, I'm like, if you're a fan of, if you follow our Instagram story, Nick posted on his Instagram about being forced. Well, you should, yeah.
Well, yeah, as an a-religious human on my 34th rotation of the planet.
Yep.
Not rotation of the planet. Rotation?
No, that'd be day.
Yeah.
A rotation around the sun.
Yes, one of those.
I guess rotation of the planet could be the
all around the sun.
Yeah.
I really got into it with Jesus. Got down with my homeboy.
We probably should have done.
And we can't do the Easter one yet because I don't know it.
Right.
Technically.
Correct. Yeah.
Technically, I'm not allowed to know.
That's
it
the
yet.
one where the Easter bunny hides eggs in the tomb and Jesus comes out.
I know that much.
Okay.
Yeah. And I did find myself very excited to see what Jesus looked and sounded like.
Kind of underwhelming. Look, visually exactly what I expected. Sonically
a little.
What the hell?
Yeah.
Like they've had great voice acting. Mm-hmm. They just lost it. Maybe they, you know what? With the clip show and the lackluster Jesus, maybe they just ran out of money. And at this point, they were like, we need to put a show together.
It's possible. We're still not really. It's funny because we've done these and there are some big names in this series and we've really not come across any
none of them.
And I think that we've had the voice of God before. And I realized that voice changes in the series. Like other people play God.
Which is confusing.
Same thing with Jesus. So this guy who voiced Jesus does not voice Jesus in the other episodes.
Is there other episodes with Jesus?
Well, I presume Easter.
He's probably in Easter.
And yeah, well, I don't know. I think that's probably it.
I don't think he'll talk much in the nativity given that he's a baby, but maybe.
Well, and here's the thing. He might, and they might have him in deep voice because like the young Jesus sounds exactly like the older. What do you want, Mom?
Right. Oh, it was, and it was funny because again, I made my wife watch this with me. They did the scene with Mary, the mother of Jesus, and they said, "Dear woman."
Yeah.
And I was like, nah, dear was not there. He just went straight up, woman. What are you doing?
Yeah. So yeah, I found myself excited to do this, to get into it just because, hey, Jesus,
right?
It's going to be an exciting episode.
It's the man.
And
could be pigs.
Yeah, right. Yes. That and the foxes. I don't get to see the pigs. I don't get to see the foxes in the Samson thing.
Right. And they didn't they did a little bit of spitting. No spitting. He just licked his thumb.
I wonder if, you know how maybe this is just me, but I have a feeling there's I'm not a visual artist. So I think there's a thing where some people can't draw hands.
Oh, yeah. It's a thing.
That's a thing.
Hands are a thing, I believe.
And so I'm wondering if the Hanna-Barbera animators can't do animals. We get humans a lot, no problem.
I mean, they're horses, man. They're horses.
But the horses are fucked up.
Horses are
maniacal.
Who was it in this one? Somebody, the Roman soldier's face morphs awkwardly.
There's a little bit of that.
And it was like, oh, uncanny.
So to start at the beginning of the narrative, once again, Margot knows exactly where they are.
Yep, they're in Canaan.
So this starts to add some depth to she apparently knows kind of what's going on.
It feels a little bit like the Hermione complex where it's two bumbling dudes and the female knows what's going on but she still doesn't get respect for it. It feels like that trope.
Sure.
Which I know that we've run into it, but at this point she's I mean, she basically does exposition on where, like technical exposition on where they are, what's going on scientifically, and Derek and Moki know jack shit.
Yes. And they end up in like a town square.
Yeah.
With like, it's not a bustling town square. It's a vast town square
Huge.
with a small cluster of people
around
a magician.
not a biblical thing. I mean,
well, right.
Doing like sleight of hand tricks.
And I immediately was like, oh no, because I assume that they're going to paint this magician as like satanic in some way.
Oh,
like he's doing tricks.
Right.
The bastard.
Right. Beyond Moki thinking that magic is real, they treat it fairly like blandly.
Sure. Yeah.
I do like that he like made Jasmine from Aladdin appear in one of the baskets.
Yes, totally. Cameo.
Yeah.
Yeah, the magician, I mean, again, we get these like weird, it seems, it's hard to pinpoint the stereotype that they're nailing, but it does, it makes you feel uncomfortable because you're like,
yeah,
there's something about.
It's a weird racial stereotype that is also anachronistically inaccurate because it's also like not of the era. It's not like they're doing like a pantomime of a Jewish character. They're just like bringing in kind of adjacent cultures that they're then going to stereotype.
Yeah.
It feels, you're right. I can't pinpoint either but it does feel off and uncomfortable.
Yeah. It's just like a blanket sort of stereotyping.
It's very weird.
And so the magician, does a bunch of weird stuff. He calls an egg the fruit of a feathered friend.
Yeah. That was like, it was things like that where you're like, you made this weird.
Yes. And of course, the magic words are very iffy.
Yes.
And not magic words.
Not magic words.
We have his. So
did you write them down?
His magic words, the magic words, apparently.
Yes.
Are Zaloom Alaroom. It's fucking intolerable. I hate it. And
it's so ridiculous. It's not even abracadabra. Like, just use fucking abracadabra.
Exactly. And so throughout the rest of this entire episode, Moki is trying to come up with the magic words because apparently that's how the trick works.
There's so many. I have problems with this entire storyline from a storytelling perspective because the way that he goes like Moki goes, that's what I want to do with my life.
Yes.
Be a magician.
Yeah, totally.
At which point you're like, okay. So you want to be a magician?
Yeah.
Fine.
Yeah.
I mean, whatever.
Yeah.
But then it's revealed that what he thinks is that there are magic words that, and it breaks it. Like, wait, so hold on. Did you know enough that this is that magic is a career, that people work at this. That this is a thing that people do in reality.
Yeah.
But you're still ascribing like arcane and mystical powers to it.
Yeah.
I'm just like,
well, it's like there's a school of learning that he needs to just memorize these words and incantations and spells. It has nothing. I mean, these are not, in some weird way, he's the one that's saying that these are not tricks.
Right.
It's bizarre. And throughout the rest of the episode, he's trying to come up with Zaloom Alaroom,
right,
which will apparently do the thing.
And he says like,
can't.
No, he says dumb variations.
Yeah. The people in town are eating it up. At the end of the show, they like are dumping coins.
No,
at this guy.
It's like an explosion of. It looks like. I was trying to think of what it looks. Actually, you know what it looks like? It looks like the laughing animation that I put on the.
Yeah, totally.
With like the crying eyes, like exploding, but like explosions of coins.
Yeah, it's a lot. Meanwhile, nobody's shopping at Benjamin's hut because they're all into this thing. So,
what does Benjamin sell?
Unclear.
It might have been bread. Might have been sticks. Might have been
something
rolls,
brown.
Yeah, might
something
have been
brown.
rolls of cloth.
Yeah.
It was very tough to tell what Benjamin sells.
Definitely an inessential item because he has no problem just closing up for a couple weeks whenever.
It was very funny because he says every year he does this like tour of walking, but he doesn't get to that for a bit, and so he's just like boarding up.
Yeah, he just starts boarding it up.
And I'm like, is this what you do every night?
I thought that it related to the magician thing where he was like, well, can't compete with this fucking guy.
I'm done. Closed.
Yeah.
Although none of the other shops seemed to be open. He was the only one that was open.
It's a weird, desolate town.
Yeah. It's very strange.
Like I think that they were just saving on animations,
Yeah.
or
Totally.
they don't want to have to deal with the idea that there's a person in the background.
Which, given like
walking
the Rager party scenes that they did in previous, like they had all those assets.
Yeah, it's true. So yeah, Moki wants to be a magician. It's his weird awakening moment. And so this is when we start getting into the miracles.
Well, because he says
Benjamin,
it's almost like it's almost like a miracle.
Yes,
and Benjamin
like firmly, loudly says, "A miracle is not a trick."
Yeah, these are tricks.
And that's how he's introduced, Benjamin. So Benjamin is voiced by Harold Gould, who is in Patch Adams.
Oh,
he was in Freaky Friday. He was in The Sting and Love and Death.
Interesting. I've seen most of those movies.
And so he is introduced to our ragtag crew of teen archaeologists.
This is very strange because, like, I'm just realizing they're rarely there when the actual person is there. They're usually there a while after, and they're being told. Like, I'm thinking, like, with the Jonah episode, they meet Jonah, but like years after the
old.
action.
Yep.
This is the guy, he was a boy when Jesus was walking the earth.
Yep.
And I mean, Samson, they're there, although there's some fucked up time.
Yeah, that's the weirdest.
Samson.
Yeah.
I guess Esther.
They're also there for.
But we should keep track of this because it seems like their timing isn't great.
Right.
And but we still haven't decided whether this is linear or whether this is episodic or whether they pop in and out of time.
Right. Yeah. So he gets introduced, and okay.
Oh no, they do. They do address it. Never mind.
So Derek, says, that they've been on the road for quite a while and that they still have a long way to go.
Where the fuck are they going?
Which then I was like, okay.
They're getting back to the tomb?
Okay. That's a theory.
Yeah.
My theory is that they are walking back to America someplace. Like they think that on this side of the planet, time operates differently.
Okay.
And by the time they walk back home.
I mean, didn't we establish that they are like 16?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
So they're walking a long way to go.
There's been some like time inconsistencies through this whole thing, but they also address, because was it Moki who says something like, we were visiting somebody last week?
Yes.
But it was,
Yep.
And I don't remember who he said.
Yeah, he says something about 2 weeks ago. We're gonna have like a board of these lines, and like we're gonna try and figure this out.
Yeah,
it doesn't help that we're doing these out of order, because I want to get to the bottom of this.
Right.
But at this point, they only have one episode of the series to tie this up. And
right.
I have a fucking feeling that it will not.
I do not think they'll make it back.
We get the explanation of what miracles are.
Yep.
This is the clip show portion.
Yeah, and it's kind of weird because they do the clip show where they show all the different miracles, but then they're going to like just kind of walk around, but it didn't really help the context. To me, it didn't.
Right. Yeah, right. And so yeah, they agree to do that. The reveal of Jesus, lovely.
The weird like rotating platter effect?
Yes, totally. I was thinking of you because I was like, oh, they tried to do like it was an actual shot, like there's this weird like crane shot that's lowering with the spinning platform, clouds in the background.
And they do not nail it with the animation.
No, like it would have been easier with the guy.
Yes, it would have been like I could have done it with my phone. They were having severe problems trying to get the animation to line up.
Yeah, totally.
It was real good.
So Margot, this is when I think Moki, so they're agreeing to go on the road.
Right.
Moki says the thing about that they have been seeing these people over the last couple of weeks. Margot like does this like elbowing thing of like, shut up. Nobody's supposed to know about this. And I think Moki says something about like, oh, a lot of these people are old friends or whatever.
Sure.
Which again thickens the plot. Like, why can it not be revealed?
Right.
You don't fit in.
Correct. I mean, and I feel like in this one, the last couple episodes that we've watched, there's been more of that where they've inserted like, oh, we're not supposed to be here because they're like clearly you're not from around here.
Yeah.
Which thank you for finally addressing that, like the two Aryan kids and their Detroit Tigers friend.
Yeah.
Don't fit.
Right.
But it's. It's weird. I realized that as a kid, I would never have picked up on the strangeness.
Right.
And I even probably liked those. Like, those are the elements that I was like, oh, that's funny. It's a kid with a hat.
Of course. Yes.
But like, it really pulls me out.
Yeah,
this
totally.
and the like shitty jokes where they try to make like the slapstick pieces. Like, it feels like it would have been better had they just like gone one way or the other.
Totally. So Benjamin also introduces the idea that I almost said he was a victim of a
Jesus.
miracle.
Yeah.
He was Jesus's first victim.
Yes. He Benjamin, and apparently he was also in the same town where Jesus turned the water into wine.
Yes.
So they did that. Benjamin is apparently the son who died.
He has this, he goes, and I died.
And I died. Yeah. And then Moki's like poking him.
Yeah.
Just like,
dude, lay off. That's your first reaction?
yeah. Huh? Hey, huh? Oh, yeah. So, and he was a kid that died, and then Jesus brought back to life.
Yep. Jesus is voiced by David Aykroyd.
Dan Aykroyd's brother?
I don't think so. Not
How many Aykroyds are out there?
His resume is not impressive.
Oh.
His top billed thing is a film called The Dark Secret of Harvest Home.
Okay.
He was also in MacGyver.
Excellent.
The Sound of Murder, and Xena Warrior Princess.
Excellent.
Yes. Not a great resume.
No. I'm feeling more and more that this was a lower budget episode.
Yes. And he's got the deep voice.
Yep. I mean, it's deep, but it's not super resonant. I don't know. Like, I feel like
it's deep, but it doesn't have like gravitas.
No.
It doesn't have, it's not like the God voice.
No, but I mean, like, it feels like they went white Jesus, like perfect white Jesus. He doesn't have blue eyes. He has purple eyes, at least in the
I think it changes.
Okay. Cause
I think it changes because I noticed purple and then I thought, oh no, I think these are blue.
But he's got kind of light brown hair. Like it's not blonde, but it's brown, but it's like clearly not Middle Eastern Jewish. Like
Absolutely not.
It's not ethnically accurate.
Absolutely.
And then like these eyes are just like blue, purple. Definitely, even when they were blue, not a color. Also, did you notice in this episode, nobody has irises except for Jesus? Was it Jesus? I think it's Jesus. Yeah, Jesus has irises. Everybody else, their irises are their flesh tone.
It was
really uncomfortable.
Really deeply into the eye
Apparently,
stuff.
it really
And I
irritates
even
me.
try and notice it because I know that you're going to bring it up, and I didn't notice that. I did notice that some of the characters in some of the scenes, even like Moki, for example, would occasionally just have like the comma eyes,
Really?
like sideways comma,
Yeah.
no definition whatsoever, just a black bloop.
Yep, it's like we don't have time. Diana, this one especially, like did not like Margot's hand gestures.
Okay.
She was like, they're so unnatural.
Yeah.
And they didn't trigger me, but like they really got under Diana's skin.
So as they walk along this road, something that I wanted to point out for no reason, and then I wrote it down in my notes, and then I said, well, I have to keep this just because of the wording, is I wrote down the phrase, Derek happily takes Benjamin's load.
It also doesn't look like it's the body of a child.
Totally.
The way that it's flopping, like the way the bag flops, like it looks like it has weight and it looks about the size of a dead body.
I thought it might be the dead him. Like there's a part. This is part of the miracle thing.
It's like some sort of like sci-fi re-sleeving thing. Like
totally.
his consciousness was passed on, but the body's still there.
Yeah. And he has to carry himself around.
This is such a better retelling. No, 100%. That is canon.
Okay, great.
He may have
I mean, we can make a book of this Benjamin. Benjamin is not a biblical Benjamin.
100%. Because the only thing he says there are provisions in the sack. They have one meal where they eat a loaf of bread and a piece of cheese.
Well, they're complaining that they don't have any
Right.
food.
And he said, it's fine. We can pick up more provisions as we go.
Right.
That bag was full of something.
Yes, definitely. Yeah.
Clearly his body.
Right. Yeah, right. So Derek, happy to be subservient to another man.
Yep.
If it's his own shit,
Nope.
it's Margot's job.
Yep, Margot's got to carry it.
We do get the wedding. I do want to talk about the wedding a little bit.
Okay.
Which has another one of these like dancing feast scenes.
Yeah. It got a little sexy in there.
It does, but it also looks like a boring white people party.
Oh, for sure.
Like lots of hippie dancing, jumping around. It looks like one of our local arts festivals.
100%.
Just in full swing.
Yeah. Yes. That's exactly what it looks like.
And
I mean, think of any like summer festival where it's just a bunch of white people listening to like a 60s cover band.
Yep.
That's exactly what it looks like.
Yep. And so, you know, in judging I think we've seen 3, maybe 4, maybe we've seen one in every single episode, like a party scene.
Yes.
This is my least favorite one.
Oh,
like, this is the one I don't want to go to.
Also the worst party. Yeah. Also, they give Jesus' mom a job at this party, at the wedding. It's not like, cause she says like she was helping out. Like, no, she wasn't.
Right.
No, she was attending with him. Mm-hmm. And it was weird that I took umbrage with that. Like, no, Jesus' mom was not part of the catering service, because that's what they popped her into the catering service. And it's like, no, that's not her. She was just a random attendee, which makes like Jesus' outburst, whatever. This is.
Now we get the first in a long string of, in my notes, capital boring, where, you know, like one miracle in and I'm just like, okay. So, I mean, the Bible story stuff is not that interesting.
No, but they also got a lot of it wrong. Sorry.
Okay.
Because there was more in here. I'd forgotten about this. So they got that Jesus' mom was helping out. Didn't happen. Dear woman, no dear.
Right.
The third one is like, they said that this was what got Jesus, like it amazed and like encouraged Jesus' disciples. He had no disciples at this point. Like,
that was
was before his, like the whole fucking point is the reason it's his first miracle. It was before his ministry started.
Yeah.
He hasn't been like ordained. You know, John, you know,
he
John
doesn't
the
have
Baptist
people
now.
yet. Yeah,
right. And I was like, how are you getting this wrong? Because like and I know this is a weird thing to get hung up on, but in the previous episodes, they've been factually accurate. Mm-hmm. Kind of to a fault at points where it's like you didn't need to include that.
So we get the fishing miracle. After that, Evie, my wife, at this point, I was watching this one not on headphones. And Evie poked her head in and just said, "There's lots of groaning over there."
So it was during the orgy scene of Jesus' miracles.
Yeah. Where he gave everyone an orgasm simultaneously. And
I really see Jesus as asexual. Like, I know this is, like, of course everybody does, but like also like
remember that for later. I have a fun thing. So the after the fishing miracle, this is when I'm really like bored.
Oh, it drags so much in the middle.
But what I appreciated is it cuts back to them under the tree, and it cuts back, and Derek yawns and stretches as this story is going on. Did you catch that?
No, I totally
It's so funny. It cuts right back to the three of them, and he's in the middle of like a really big, like he doesn't give a fuck.
No, and it does feel like it is actually expressing like nobody really cared about this episode. Like not even the characters in it.
No. Yeah, all of the other episodes that we've watched, the characters get into it. They're kind of hyped about meeting the person,
right?
Which, granted, they don't get to meet anybody fun.
No, but like they're like you said, like they're covering Jesus. This should be
pull out all the stops,
right? Like if I don't know,
the third miracle that they show. Well, no, I guess this is maybe the fourth. I don't know. I lost track.
Yeah.
This is the Roman soldier who has a servant. Who is
like a son
ailing. Yes. And there's this, there's this instantaneous healing that I knew that you would be into of the, like, how does that messenger service work exactly? Yep. And Jesus proclaims, "Your faith has cured your servant." And then there's an instantaneous person running up, Master, your servant as well. And I mean, which is very funny.
I do appreciate they didn't do the time thing, because like in the Bible, that's the part that irritates me. Like we noted the time, the minute, to the minute and the hour, and he was cured at that time. It's like, none of you had walking, like, were you all looking at sundials?
Yeah. And apparently your faith allows you to keep servants.
Servants are fine.
Okay, great.
Yeah, the Bible has no problem with slavery.
And there's a lot of this, the archaeologists and Moki, the Romans are the bad guys.
I know, as they're passing two Roman guards, and Moki's like, oh.
Yeah. We get the fourth miracle, which is a storm on the lake.
Correct.
Which is a lot less impressive than you would imagine.
Although that sail, like the sail animation in that makes my day.
Yeah.
Like it's just going nuts.
Yeah, it's whipping. And I guess I guess geographically the storm would have been on a lake.
Yeah. It's the weird thing is they kept calling it a different name. And this might just me like projecting and mishearing things or they not saying, but I always assumed it was always Lake Galilee. Mm-hmm. And that may be wrong because they kept using town names and lake names that I'd never heard of. Mm-hmm. But they were using them as if they were these big names. And like, I don't fucking think these are real names. Or they just pulled them out of their ass. Also, like they call it like a Gentile city.
Yes.
It's like,
it's just hard for me, like as somebody who lived the first part of my life on Lake Michigan,
right,
and my second part of my life on the Pacific Ocean,
right.
How raging of a storm there could be on a lake. I get that some lakes are very, very vast and big and tumultuous versus, I mean, I just have a hard time imagining how intense a storm would be on a lake,
right?
That you would be.
I guess if you were in like a dinghy, it might be scarier.
Sure. Yeah.
I do like though, like I was like making, at this point I was just like making fun of the show, and
how dare you?
I know, right? And like Jesus like takes an Ambien.
Yeah, right. He out. Oh, dude is out. Like as soon as he's on the he's basically crawling. Like, all right, guys, you're gonna have to get us through. Margot has a line that I giggled at, which is he was doing his father's business. And they kind of circle back. It's unclear if they've like circled back to the original town. Maybe not.
I have no fucking idea.
I don't know where Jesus's footsteps lead in this.
Yeah, this is one of those. It's weird on many levels because everything.
We need our geography expert.
Yeah, we do need our geography, but also they keep saying these towns that are not in my experience. Biblical names that I know.
Yeah.
Like there's a handful of places that I know just because.
And I even recognize if I don't know where it is or what is supposed to have happened there, I recognize the name at least from this.
You recognize Bethlehem or Nazareth or Jericho or Jerusalem for that matter. Like there are these like kind of geographical points that make sense to me.
Yeah.
And in mine, and this may be a thing that I don't have the biblical knowledge that we like quote unquote know for sure that these stories happened on these lakes or in these towns.
Yeah.
They did not have to set these in places that we didn't know.
Right.
It felt very much like Lord of the Rings where they're just like throwing out these names. This mythology is like, you're just adding shit to this mythos that we don't need.
It's really not necessary.
And all of the towns look identical. Everything looks identical. And they're doing these like bubbly dissolves between like the meta and Jesus's time. And some of the stories are happening where they're at, and some of them are not where they're at.
Right.
And they all look the same.
Yep.
So it for me, it was very difficult to follow the track of the narrative of where the geographics of where we are.
Absolutely.
Which, whatever. We're not all, Steven Spielberg, but like one of the key points of all visual, like filmmaking is like giving the geography of a space just so people know where they are in space.
Totally. It's essential.
And they fucked it up.
Yes.
And I am more angry with this episode for like technical visual storytelling failings than any other episodes. Cause like all of that and the Roman soldiers, like I mentioned his face, but it has his eyes like drift.
Oh yeah.
Like vertically.
Yep.
It's very uncomfortable.
It's pretty bad. I buy that they're running out of money at this point. That seems to make sense.
I did a little research. Mm-hmm. Joseph Barbera, Hanna-Barbera, apparently wanted to do this from day one. He was like, this was a pet project.
Okay.
So yeah, I think he
that
just
makes sense.
He like one of the owners basically poured money into it until like people were like, yeah, you can't, like accounting came down. It's like, dude, you can't keep putting money into this. Nobody's buying this.
Right. So we've gone maybe 4/5 of the way through this episode without any decent, substantial amount of womanizing, and that all changes here.
Okay.
In setting up the blind man miracle, where Derek and Moki start to check out some women.
Oh my God, this whole because they keep the joke going for so fucking long.
Yes. So you get the two bumbling guys who again are 14.
I guess.
I don't know.
We know that they're not.
They're in high school.
They're in high school. Or they haven't. To be fair, all she said is she hadn't graduated high school. They could be 30.
They've dropped out. Just fast track to archaeology.
Yep.
So they're checking out women. They are
Because the guy Benjamin, yeah, Benjamin goes like, we're out here, like there's some amazing sights to see here, or something to that effect.
Well, so there's some like pretty sights,
right?
And then two women walk by
with pots on their heads.
They like
right,
and walk into a unoccupied tent,
correct,
that
and take
falls
it down
on them. And Margot goes, "Oh, you and your pretty sights,"
right?
And then Benjamin, one of my favorite lines in this episode, goes, "There was a man in the city who could not see such pretty sights."
It was like everybody had to say, like, make the joke that these women were beautiful.
Set it up,
but like,
set it up, and let Benjamin knock it down. Blind man miracle.
I also like the idea that Jesus, like the miracle is like, he's going to do the eyes, but like, I like the idea that Jesus didn't get it right the first time.
Yes, this was very funny to me and very like awkward to watch.
Yes.
Because he goes and like clearly doesn't do it enough. Like he's like, due to you, did that work? And this is a weird, I feel like there's always one moment in all of these episodes where they like do some kind of experimental animation.
Yes.
That's usually like shadowy.
It's not been as good as like the hand finger in Samson.
Right.
That sounded weird, but
I know what you mean.
Or the Jonah. In the dark.
I think the Jonah right now is top of the list.
But yeah,
this one is weird because it's from the perspective of the blind man who is like partially healed by Jesus the first time.
He gets half his vision back.
He can see shadowy forms.
Yeah, he calls them like, I see men walking around as if they were trees, which is, I know that is a direct quote from the Bible. Yeah. But it's still like, they're still very much people. Yes. Like the images that he's seen.
Yeah,
I feel like they should have made it just more blobby and like motion happening. Because like just seeing what looks like poorly defined people doesn't look like trees.
No. And so then Jesus is not satisfied with that. So he like warms up his hands. It looks like he just goes
licks,
like, oh, you think
he's licking them?
Tongue?
I think he's licking them.
Okay, because like he's gonna count a stack of bills or something.
Yeah.
I thought he was just like he had to get these puppies warmed up.
I think what they're referencing is like spitting.
Is the spit?
Yeah.
Yes, but the spit is not clear.
No.
Like if we hadn't spent so much goddamn time talking about the spitting on people,
and called the episodes Jesus spits on people.
Yeah, I would never have noticed that it was the spit that cured this man.
Right.
And so then we get the point of view of the blind person, which again is not like, so when he's actually healed, again, it's not that big of a fucking deal.
Nope.
Like it's not, I'm wanting the like clip of the baby on Reddit who gets their first pair of glasses.
Yes.
And it's just like, you're laughing and you're crying and it's just like, oh my gosh.
Right.
This does not have any power to it whatsoever.
No,
I'm sorry.
Oh, thanks.
Thanks, man.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's you're right. Cause like, I was thinking the cochlear implants when like they like deaf babies or deaf children are like, they have that turned on and suddenly like you see them like physically start and then start like really grinning.
Yeah.
And like the parents are just losing their shit. Like that. You're right. That's exactly what I would expect.
Yes. Benjamin has a weird line that I don't know how it made it into it doesn't set anything up really. And it's very vague. Nobody would ever say this sentence.
Excellent.
He was left to find solitude in a wilderness area.
Yeah, that tracks.
It seems like a storyboard item that they forgot to get rid of.
Right.
Like a wilderness area is what they needed to be animated.
Right.
And it got transferred over to the dialogue.
Right. Like
somehow.
the script department just like put it in as a placeholder.
Mm-hmm.
And we need to like say this is what happened.
And we get the bread and fish miracle.
Which, by the way, Dan and I both noticed, it's only heads and tails. There's no bodies of fish in that, like the big baskets. When he split up, like it's like, which would you like a tail or a fish or a head? And also nobody's taking fish. Literally everybody's only
just
taking bread. Literally like,
dude, I got all the, you guys. Did you not see? I also made all this.
We have fish.
So all the while there's this like orchestral riff playing.
Yeah.
That sounds a little bit like the Noel Christmas song.
Oh, really?
Like, it sounds a little bit like a riff on that.
Interesting. I mean, it could very well be.
It could be.
This was the first one, like the Feeding the 5,000 was the first time I noticed, and in retrospect, like realized looking back it's the same. And like you just pointed out, the feeding the fact that like it's super lackluster. Like this is a like it's an objectively
showstopper.
Yeah, and none of these things. I think part of the reason that this is so boring is the dynamics are so low. Like nothing. Like all of these insanely like objectively impressive.
Yeah.
Things.
Right.
Because like this is literally like a collection. Like this should be like the banger, like the band like hitting their 4 songs that everybody knows all in a row.
Yeah.
And
that nobody is impressed. Like, even if you weren't going to like make a spectacle out of the thing, which I could understand because you don't want it to seem magic-y. You don't want to add effects that are like bling.
Right.
But nobody is impressed.
No.
Which is a direct contrast to the magician that they show earlier, where everybody's fucking flipping out.
Right.
That this guy pulled a bandana out of his mouth. Like they're losing their minds.
Right.
And maybe that's something to do with like the faithful are just like they accept it as anyway.
It doesn't.
I won't project, but
but it doesn't do a good job of like from that perspective. Like it doesn't do a good job of selling this.
It's not good at selling it. No. So then homie walks on water. You get a bunch of the ghost Scooby-Doo lines. In this scene, there's a lot of, I noted that there was a lot of coming. There's a lot of, let me come, Peter, just like, like I was again thinking of Evie in the other room,
just hearing moaning and
just like moaning and people being
Peter,
like,
come,
Peter,
come, Peter,
let me come,
let me come.
Jesus, literally, missed opportunity.
So many missed opportunities, but which one did you notice?
Well, this missed opportunity is the line was, somebody says, "Surely you are the Son of God." Really wanted him to say, "Don't call me Shirley." I mean, if you're gonna do the slapsticky jokes, bang,
right.
Let Jesus get one in.
No, he's so good. I don't know why, but like the beginning of the walking on water miracle shows Jesus like he was like, you guys go ahead, I'll walk and meet you there.
Yep.
And then they show him praying on a rock, and I don't know why. Like that shot is really weird to me.
Yeah,
the way he's like,
it is
kind of hunched over. He looks like one of the like pictures of Catholic people praying over like where they do the candles and stuff.
Okay.
I'm not Catholic, so
yeah.
But like it looks like they took that imagery, but then just like replaced the kind of kneel bench altar thing with the candles with a rock.
Right.
And it's really strange.
That is funny. Yeah, I did notice that. And then finally we get the blessed czar moment.
Which isn't a miracle.
And I got confused about this because again, after all this is said and done, I'm still going to be very confused because nothing is ever in any context for me. It's also all been like, boop, 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 boop.
Well, and this episode was like the Beatitudes are
right.
The whole thing was just out of any sort of order.
Sure. They're just cramming what they can into the Jesus episode.
Apparently.
Which is, kind of what we've been faced with. We've been faced with the same narrative problem of how do you work Jesus in? You just have to do these little clips of things.
Yes, yeah.
So we get the blessed czar. This one, no resolution whatsoever.
No.
They don't cut back to the kids at all.
Nope.
We don't know anything about like Moki doesn't even become a magician and then like bamfs himself home or whatever, like nothing.
Oh, that's an idea. Like Moki figures out that magicians are real, magic is real, and just like teleports them back to.
Right.
I like that idea. I'm just going to assume that Benjamin killed them all.
And now it's time to show you what's in my bag.
Exactly.
And like the dead child Benjamin
eats them.
Yes. And then he goes and opens up his shop again.
Exactly.
For the next wanderers.
For the next future people.
So unfortunately, very little meta. This one, I wrote this and it's dumb to say in a Jesus episode, but it's so fucking preachy. Like this, of all of them, I was the most like creeped out by.
Well, weirdly, it didn't feel that way for me.
Okay.
I felt other ones had more preachy, like especially the end of this. One of them ended really like hard on a Bible verse.
Oh, okay.
And that felt awkward.
Well, maybe that's how I felt with this one because it just straight up ends with the Beatitudes. Like,
right. And the Beatitudes, I don't have I have less of a problem with. Just
Absolutely.
Because
Absolutely.
they also like I've always felt a little bit like the Beatitudes are kind of bullshit because it just feels contrarian. Like it just feels like whatever the opposite is, they're going to like the meek are going to inherit the earth. Like, blessed are the peacemakers.
I guess I just like having the narrative at the end to like get me out of it rather than just like,
here's some Bible.
The Bible. Bye.
Yeah. It's really strange approaching this because like I've been trying to put myself in like multiple mindsets while I watch this to like, what was I thinking as a kid? What would I be thinking if I was still a practicing adult? And now what am I actually like, what are my actual impressions now as me where I am spiritually and whatever. And it's really strange because I fundamentally it doesn't work on so many levels. Like this doesn't work on an entertaining level. It's not good. It's objectively bad.
YouTube comments would disagree with you.
Really?
I see very little comments about not enjoying this and a lot of comments about how 10 years later, I still watch these regularly,
That's so sad to me.
Well, I'm just saying, if you were, I'm trying to take you out of who you are right now.
No, for sure. Well, because like Diana and I were talking about this a lot because she watched they owned the VHS tapes.
Ooh la la.
Right. I think Alan did too. When we were talking, I was talking to him about it. I just got him at school. Like this is like the substitute teacher thing. Yeah. Diana would watch them on Sabbath when she couldn't watch anything else. And this is the thing. I've forgotten about these weird little details. So like Sabbath, Adventists keep Sabbath, the Jewish Sabbath from like sundown Friday to sundown Saturday night. That's our Sabbath hour.
Yeah.
Their Sabbath. So often you get home from church after, services and you have it all afternoon. And in the Northwest, like it's raining for, 9 months of the year. You can't go out. You can't go hiking.
Yeah.
People have different methods of what is okay to keep the Sabbath, quote unquote. And some people had basically carved out portions of media that were okay.
Okay. Yeah.
So obviously any biblical story. So these would have been in there.
Yeah.
Like nature documentaries were included in there. And they're like, there'd be a line because like my take is like, Blackfish wouldn't be appropriate, but like all of the National Geographic stuff would be appropriate.
Sure.
Blue Planet is like on the edge because it's good. And there's an element of like, masochism where like, if it's too good and you're enjoying yourself too much, then that's not keeping the Sabbath.
So when you say that Blackfish wouldn't would the Attenborough things, like half of them be okay? And then they'd have to cut before he starts saying, in the end, and this is why we have to pay attention to because that's not just, you're not just looking at birds.
So kind of, my guess is it would be fine. And then you'd feel a little guilty about that part. Oh,
okay.
I'm guessing
because the quality was so high.
Yeah. And that there was
and there's
there's some some charitable things that didn't have to do with religion.
Yeah.
It's kind of it's weird because I can't logically, I can't verbalize the decision tree that my brain does. Because for almost anything, you can show me a piece of media or a book or something, and I can tell you immediately, oh, that would be appropriate to watch on Sabbath. And then I can say, oh, that's a gray area. Sometimes my parents would be okay with it. Sometimes they wouldn't. Yeah. And I think part of it is because it was semi-arbitrary.
Yeah.
But you would get used to, you just got used to this weird amorphic, religiously line. Mm-hmm. I think we talked about how you could wade but not swim. Did we talk about this?
I don't know if we talked about this.
So let's say you go to church.
Yeah.
Church finishes. It's a beautiful summer, sunny day. Uh-huh. We're going to have a potluck at the beach, either here, or on a lake, or go to a park where there's a water.
Yeah.
And I'm going to give you a weird decision tree of things that it's okay to do and things that it is not okay to swim. You cannot swim.
Swimming is out.
If you weren't in a swimsuit, rolled up your pants and walked through the water and just kind of waded a little bit, just fine.
Dip your toe in.
Correct. Ultimate Frisbee, fine. Soccer, fine. Soccer, not okay. Ultimate Frisbee, probably fine.
Okay.
Basketball, not okay. Frisbee, fine. Throwing a football around, fine. Actual game of football, not okay.
Because it's a game?
Could not tell you. Probably.
Oh, but Ultimate Frisbee then would be.
See, this is the thing. And Ultimate Frisbee was an exception somehow. And there was an element of when it became too organized, too competitive, and too ordinary. So my guess is soccer was too organized and too something you do on a weekday.
Yeah.
Ultimate Frisbee, you really only would play on Sabbath unless you were like those guys in college.
And is this like organizational?
No.
Or is it strictly like parental?
It's societal.
Okay.
And I don't know how to, it's weird because Adventism is a community.
Yeah.
And so like even more so than your typical Protestant church.
Yeah.
It would be that kind of thing where like other parents would be fine chastising somebody else's children.
Okay.
About like, that's not appropriate to do on Sabbath.
Yep.
But they wouldn't like, it's really strange on the things. And I cannot, I'm having a hard time putting into words this thing, and it's fucking weird.
Well, you're doing a very good job at defining it, but having a hard time like figuring out exactly what that rubric is.
Right.
Like how, because on paper, as somebody outside of it, I couldn't easily be given something and fill out this decision tree of like, here's this.
I couldn't give you like the 10 laws and say, here's an activity.
If this, then this.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I don't think it really exists. Mm-hmm. It was that thing where like, here's what it is. It's like the pornography laws from the 40s where it's like, I don't know, like I can't define it, but I'll know it when I see it. And it was very much in that vein of, which to be fair, a lot of the kind of cultural things kind of come from that era of American politics and American society.
Yep.
And like to a certain extent, like potlucks were still like completely filled with casseroles from like the 50s. Like 50s Americana there's a part of religious America that got like stuck right before the 60s. And it's like culture continued to evolve and the church didn't know how.
Right. And right around that time, 80s and 90s, there is that huge like values identity crisis,
right.
Especially in America.
Yeah, the neoconservatives kick back in. You have that whole like influx of like fire under churches.
Yep. You have the Tipper Gores of the world coming through, and that's not even, these are Democrat, these are liberals who are saying like, whoa, we got to make sure that our children are safe and abiding by the cultural norms that I am used to.
It's very strange.
That's interesting though.
We should probably at some point like really dig into this because obviously this is not the right, but like this episode kind of exemplified a lot of the things that really pissed me off. And while I was in it, because like this would have been something that we could watch, I would have had most of the criticisms I had today, I would have, when I was a child going, this is shitty content. Like I'm not upset so much as about the religiosity around this because I'm not like, frankly, this isn't teaching me anything. This isn't teaching me anything positively or negatively. It's just doing a shitty job of everything.
Yeah. Well, it did teach. I mean, do you remember the magic words?
No.
Zaloom alaroom.
So good.
It's easy. It's the worst one, right?
Yeah.
It's the worst one we've done.
And that angers me more than it should because I don't give a shit about, to say that I don't give a shit about Christianity isn't accurate, but like they didn't stick the landing. Like this was the one they needed to get right and they got it the most wrong.
Yeah. Yep. Agree. Very few reviews of this one, which is interesting because again, this is your dude.
Maybe that's the point. It's like, it was so bad. People are like, I can't bring myself to write.
Forget it.
Like, fuck that shit.
So in previous episodes, there's been a lot of comparisons to other various Bible series that you are not familiar with.
Right.
This one started talking about one that I had to look up. That looks fun. It's Superbook. Do you know this?
Remind me.
For you?
That sounds kind of familiar.
1981.
Okay.
Japanese anime about kids and a robot going into the Bible.
Oh my God.
It looks good.
Okay. We might need to watch this.
I bet that there will be people who are like, please don't. It's awful.
Okay.
I'm sure it's not good, but like just the animation style alone, like looks, this is Hanna-Barbera. It's good. And in fact, I have defended this animation in saying like, if the animation was worse, it would be so difficult to watch this as an adult. I think the Superbook one might be fun sometime.
All right.
So put that in your hat. I have one review for you. This deals with your asexual Jesus.
Okay.
I love Jesus so much. Please marry me, Jesus.
Oh, yeah. Yes. Oh, it's so funny because like, there might be a whole underworld like surrounding fetishizing Jesus.
Yeah.
And I know that but like Jesus kind of gets in the like religious fetishization. It's usually more like about priests and nuns and like religious figures.
The like taboo thing.
Right. But it's never like, I want to fuck Jesus. Right? Like this is a thing.
Yeah. I thought you would either find that very funny, you have the reaction that you had. I thought there was a slight chance that you would be like, oh, like be very upset about it.
I'm hoping that they're just somebody who's...
Evie was really upset about it.
No.
Because I was like, is this the one? Is this the one? and she was like, oh, like, I think she just hurt for this person.
Well, because that's the thing. There is an idea that like, that Jesus married the church, which I think is more of a Catholic idea.
Oh.
And so that may be it coming from like just a background thing. I always thought the idea of like,
he wasn't wearing a ring in this episode.
No, he was not. Well, the church didn't exist yet.
Yeah. All right.
But like, I'm wondering if it like stems from that. Cause like the idea of, to me, like people would say things like, like the church is the bride of Jesus. And it's like, it doesn't track. Like either like, is Jesus in some sort of like weird polygonal relationship with all, like, are we all, and I mean, this probably says something more about me, but like, I assume like a sexual relationship at that point.
Yeah.
Like, so it's like, this is a weird comparison to make. I don't like it.
That's all I've got.
All right.
Let's do a better episode next time.
Yeah.
Of the cartoon, not our show. This was a fantastic
Yeah, no, our show's great. Well, thank you so much for listening. You can follow us at KJV Pod on both Twitter and Instagram. Just a reminder, the prayer lines are still open. They're always open. I don't know why I'm saying still open. We will take anything from you at any time. We'd love to hear from you. This week, we'd love to hear about your experiences around the miracles of Jesus. What was your favorite miracle? Do you have any memories about being told about his miracles? Really anything related to the miracles.
Were you cured of anything?
Yeah, if you have had a miracle happen to you, please let us know about it. Also, if you have any notes for us about Nick and I watching the cartoons, anything that we missed, anything that you thought was funny, we'd love to hear about that as well. To get on the podcast, record a voice memo on your phone and then email it to dearjesus@kingjamesvirgin.com. You can use any spelling of dear that is a part of the English language.
It's not confusing at all.
Nope. Thanks to Mascaras and Resurrection Records for the use of our theme song, Kexari, off the album El Moren. And this week's Resurrection Records artist is Lady Wolf. So stick around for that after we finish up this episode. Also, you can hear it again on our website. There are tons of stuff, the archive of all of our episodes. You get the point on our website, kingjamesvirgin.com.
Until next week, I believe in Wednesdays.
Sexy thing.
We can hang there all night long, but no one will know. No one knows. by Sonic Bazaar.